Recording is in progress. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Those of you who could be here live and those watching the recording. This is going to be a processing call today. It's been a minute since I've had a chance to do one of these. We've mostly been doing them inside the 8-week course I was doing with GP Walsh, focused on foundations for facilitating inner reconciliation. So it's good to be back with all of you. How today is going to be, it's going to be focused on processing. So anything that's coming up for you, I'm going to focus on actually taking you through something to help address it, as opposed to more of a Q&A style. So it's going to be about an hour, maybe up to 75 minutes long. Raise your hand so I can pace the time. I'll probably be able to work with about 3 people in that time. If someone is kind of quick, we may be able to get to 4. You can submit via the Q&A button. If you would have something you want to work with and just want some advice with, we can get to those at the end if there is time. Relax and enjoy. The replay is always on YouTube. If you're not watching it there and you would like to, it's on the channel called Inner Workspace. Would appreciate if you subscribe to it as well. It helps the cause. These are just some links. There's a Facebook group I have where you can ask questions and interact, as well as the YouTube channel, which you may be watching this, and the blog where I have some different articles about the subject of inner work, how to use these processes around different subjects, different experiences I've had working with people and working with myself. So feel free to check those out. And I'm going to be starting a membership called Forward Motion. That's going to be a way to do more calls for members only, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So I will talk about that later at the very end of things, but there is sort of a very early adopter, since those of you even who know who I am means you've been with me for a minute most likely and have been a supporter. So be kind of an early bird appreciative membership thing happening in that direction. So let's see who has their hands up. Okay, we've got 2 hands up. If anyone else thinks they might want to work, go ahead and put them up. I'll definitely have a chance to get to you. Okay, we've got 3. So that's a good group for today. So before we kick right into working with people, I invite everyone to close your eyes if you're in a position to do so. Take a nice deep breath. See if you can feel that breath coming from lower in your stomach and in your diaphragm, as opposed to your chest and neck. Just give yourself a moment to settle into your body. Get a chance to connect with what you're feeling physically, what's going on inside you emotionally. And if you do want to work with something today, give yourself a pause here to just slow down for a moment. Give a chance for yourself to settle into what the heart of the matter is for you, what you're feeling, what that issue may be on a physical level, what the experience is, how it's impacting you emotionally. And it'll help us get right into it for each one of you, so we have a little more time to direct into the process itself. So just take a moment to center yourself, feel into the heart of what's going on for you. And we have Gilbert here, so let me bring you up.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
I'm organizing my home and everything. We'll be working with an organizer. But as that clears up, which direction I go professionally is on the I'm working with some investors. I don't know if I want to continue. I haven't been working top notch. And I know they noticed that, and they're kind of phasing me out a little bit without directing it. I mean, they've been very patient with me and everything, but at the same time, I think my best qualities aren't appreciated. They want to pigeonhole me in something that I'm really not interested in or that good at, or at least
Mm.
not in the way they think, um, and I kind of set it up. Hey, once I get my house all organized, my home, uh, things will be different.
Mm. How
But
so?
I'll be
In,
able to.
in in the way that it relates to this subject, how so?
Yeah, I know that. I'll be. I won't have the decluttering my house, moving in, all that. That's taken months, distracting me, and so I've kind of set it up that I should still be tagging along and things getting more efficient on my part, but at the same time, it's opening the window to me as far as, do I really want to stay with this group? Do our values really uh, align?
Mm.
Um, do I have better opportunities doing something else on my own? Um, and so that's the kind of the confusion. It's like I don't even
Mm-hmm.
know. I've always stayed someplace until they let me go, so to speak.
Right.
Uh, um, Even if it was a voluntary layoff sort of situation, was my longest career. Um, but I was waiting for that, so it was voluntary, but it was also on their timeline, not mine. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't want to keep doing that where I'm. And it's not every single time, but there is.
Try see what comes up when we start shifting it into the direction of clarity on what you do want to do. So when you say do something on my own,
Mhm.
take a moment to explore that. And also, when you describe that your current position is not necessarily what you're passionate about and not necessarily aligned with what you're best at, see if you can articulate in a succinct way what you are passionate about and what you are best at, even separate from a specific job. Just what are the qualities?
Well, I'm a great teacher and a great uh, communicator
Good.
based on uh, just an eclectic and broad range of interests. So I can bring all sorts of things together that don't even seem related. Um, in the real estate realm, as far as I love architectural history and um, historical homes, and that ties into city planning and or non-planning or whatever. Um, and so it's just talking about that and finding like-minded people would be what would be more interesting to me. Influencing, again in this realm, rehabbers to honor historic home and construction. Um, and yes, I'd like to do a rehab or two myself. I'd love to, own property. Um, and I haven't been able to get that going. I've got a contractor friend who's actually moved farther away from me, but still we've had ideas of working together with an architect on historic properties, and I haven't been able to get that going. Um, Again, because of my own tumult and other projects that they have. But
Okay.
so I feel
Good.
like I'm letting everybody down. I'm doing, just trying to get my life in order again. And then the whole world, of course, is falling apart, and my
Hmm. Okay.
passion to warn and spread the word and find a way to survive.
Yeah, so just notice how as soon as you start describing that, you leave all the grounding of something solid.
Mm-hmm.
You start to get a little solid when you start talking about, let's say, rehabbing a home
Mm-hmm.
or teaching, right?
Yeah.
So let's start there and let's practice a little bit. And everyone can do this with something that they know they like to do and wish they were doing professionally. You know, if you want to be a coach, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to have a business, if you want to be a top employee, right? There's something more solid when you're thinking about that or in that direction versus when you start going into all of the other stuff going on in life and in the world. It kind of leaves all of that energy and you feel yourself kind of in the abstract and all the reasons it couldn't and all the reasons it's not happening. So first, bring up what it feels like when you are either teaching or you are speaking about those subjects that matter to you. Or even if you were to be given a project of rehabbing a home. And take a moment to connect, see what happens when you connect to the feeling of, okay, this is the emotional zone I'm in when I'm working on that thing. And see how accessible that is to you.
It's good. And then there's a feeling of biting off more than I can chew, and that it's going to be more work than I'm prepared to do or capable of doing.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the exercise, is to always notice how quickly something pulls you away from just actually staying connected to that source of energy, right? That source of energy meaning I'm interested in that. I'm inspiration. It's not anything too, woo-woo or anything. It's just I like doing that. I like when I'm focused on my business. I like when I think about teaching and like when I think about rehabbing a home. And so notice that it only takes a couple seconds for something to come in and give you the reasons why. And when it shows you biting off more than you can chew, what is it showing you? Is it showing you actually trying to work too hard, do too many things? Is it showing you a past experience?
It's like a heaviness and a confusion.
Okay, good. So put your attention now on the feeling of heaviness in your body and the confusion. And let's put our attention on that in such a way that we become curious about why some part of you doesn't like or feels uncomfortable at the idea of having some clarity on what I want to do. So if I were to stay connected and say, yeah, I would like to teach, or I would like to work on this project, and I'm able to focus on it for, gosh, even a minute, right? This part of you doesn't like that. It starts feeling heavy, starts feeling confused, which is actually just giving sort of the opposite of that energy of clarity. It's just saying no to clarity. And you say, hey, why are you uncomfortable with that? What's wrong with being clear and moving forward, even just to brainstorm?
It's unsafe, too many unknowns. And I still have all this other stuff to do.
Okay. Now, is the other stuff to do a way of avoiding that fear and unknown?
Probably, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Um, some of it's true. You know,
sure.
I mean, it's physically true. I just, that's why hiring the organizer and everything is going to be helpful. It's,
Let's phrase it a different way.
uh-huh.
If that fear and confusion wasn't there, would you find the time, even if it was 20 minutes?
I could, yeah.
Yeah,
That feels less like there's less resistance. That
good. So let's keep going in the direction of that fear that feels like it's unsafe and there's a real consequence to having more clarity. And also check in and see if that actually is accurate, if it's having more clarity or if it's something else or something more. Because notice that's an important word, and the reason I'm going there is because we're not even talking about, okay, getting started and writing the grant proposal and building the website. We're literally just talking about, can I be clear on what I want to do next and actually even approach it? Because for many people, even that is where all of the fun, the turmoil starts.
oh yeah, I mean, there's that uh like the clouds come in, as soon as it starts, as soon as I start imagining or trying to imagine that,
Mhm.
um it's unrealistic.
Okay.
It's not.
Zero in on the part of you that's saying that as best you can. Like actually start to turn your attention and feel the part of you that's actually saying all of these things you're about to say. Unrealistic. What else?
It's pie in the sky. If it were
Mm-hmm.
that easy, everyone would do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a lot of work. It's got to be a lot of work. It's got to be heavy. It can't be as easy as you're saying it is.
And so
You're wanting it to be. Yeah.
if it is a lot of work, if it's not easy to do, what's the objection to that? Or the attachment, let's call it, to it being easy. So if something says it's going to be hard and you say, yeah, it probably will be hard to start my own business and become independent. So what if it's hard? See how it responds to that.
Mm-hmm. You're not prepared for that. You're too lazy to do it.
Interesting. It's saying you're lazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's you can't get your act together. That's it's biting off more than you can chew. Look at your history. Look at your history.
Mm. And so why, this is a question you asked to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I, if you know what it is to not have your act together, what is having your act together and why couldn't I do that? Why don't you want to help me get my act together? Maybe you've never asked it to. Just see what happens.
I'm here to warn you. I'm not here to help you.
Okay, very good. So notice it's here to warn you, not here to stop you. That's significant. I'm here to
Uh-huh.
warn you.
Mm-hmm.
So something else would be the one to say, I've heard the warning, and now I choose to heed the warning and become more prepared, get my act together. What would be the response to, okay, I've heard your warning.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's a valid warning, right? If you have in fact tried this and it hasn't worked out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I have those things come up when I try to do something. And, you know, hey, do a call. No, well, remember that time no one showed up? It's like, well, yeah, okay, valid, right? Should I not do it again? I don't think so. Right? So you notice that the way it's presenting itself to you is it says, "I'm warning you. I'm not stopping you."
Right, right. No, and that's an interesting um, distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And so heed the warning, but don't take the warning as so it says, okay, this is going to be hard and you're not organized. See if you can handle that, meaning you can take that on and go, okay, maybe valid, right? Instead of, oh God, it's right, I'm not organized, right? Try just accepting what it's saying as okay, does it have a point? If I'm not organized yet, that doesn't mean I couldn't correct that. If there is something I have to learn, I'm certainly capable of learning.
yeah, I feel like I'm saying to it, I'm getting the help I need.
Okay.
Um, Almost like, don't you see that? I'm getting the
Hmm.
help I need.
Well, maybe its job isn't to see that. Its job is just to warn you. You know, a stop sign's job is just to say, stop, look for cars. It won't ever do anything else. It won't go away. It won't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You see it. It says stop here, even if it's 4 a.m. There's no cars. This is a spot where I might need to pay attention. You stop, you look, but you don't have to have a emotional shutdown or anything with the part of you saying, "Hey, be careful." So go back to now. Okay, yes. Thank you for telling me. It could be hard. It could be difficult. I have maybe had past experiences that didn't go as well in this direction. And I still am going to now choose to go back to focusing on that energy of what I want to do next. So you don't fight with the warning, you just take it in. Say, yep, things could go wrong here. Things could be challenging. I accept that, at least as a possibility, not as a rule, but as a possibility. This could be challenging. This could go badly. So could pretty much anything. And now I still choose to go back to looking for clarity. Is it okay for me to be in more clarity about this? Let's see what comes up.
It's interesting because the resistance starts at even just imagining it, and so it feels to be softening
Good.
that. I mean, I wasn't even permitted to dream about it or fantasize about it. I mean, I've got all these books on how to be a public speaker. I mean, this has gone back decades, you know. And so that part of me seems to be letting up a little bit.
Okay, good.
On that, even just letting me fantasize about it. It's like
Good.
that wasn't even allowed before. That wasn't even permitted, you know.
Right. And it has a lot of warnings. So that's how I would encourage working with this for the time being is to actually listen to the warning and don't interpret the warnings, because this can happen a lot when we get into this kind of processing and tapping and different things. Like something came up that said this could be bad, and now we feel like we have to fix that or resolve that. Or why is this voice here? And a lot of times you just listen to it. This could be hard. Yeah, it could be. Okay, thank you for warning me. Now I still, right? Just like a stop sign or a sign that says danger, you know, rocks ahead. You don't have to turn around. It's just, okay, there's something to be aware of here. Now I choose to go forward with that awareness that yes, this could be difficult. And then it feels like you are listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
It goes, okay, he's listening to me. Because remember, it just kept saying, I'm here to warn you. I'm not here to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
And so keep going with that as you make the practice for right now just being interested in clarity, because it has to start with clarity. You
Mm-hmm.
have to pick, we have to pick. If I'm going to be a coach, we have to sort of decide I'm going to do that and start making the materials and start advertising. There's, especially going into business for yourself, there's no way it can just kind of appear, right? You have to at least have talk to another human being or something. So some level of clarity, even if that's just feeling level clarity, and just be asking, okay, can I have more clarity here? Would it be okay to have some clarity on what to do next? Because that really is the heart of the issue. Right? If you were clear, okay, I'll stay in this job for a little bit because I can stay in this job and I still have time to grow my own business. All of the stress, or a large part of it, is just simply the lack of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yeah.
part of you is becoming a little more attuned or in allowing of clarity if it's simply allowed to be listened to and you just stay with it. So it says the objections and you say, yeah, I hear those objections. And now I go back. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. As you know, we would go deeper into that, but for the sake of the hands up and the shorter call, we'll just
I get
leave it there for now.
Yeah, we can do it
And
on our,
thanks so
on our
much.
own calls, so that'll be great.
Yeah, we can definitely go deeper into this next time we talk.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Good subject. Okay, Brock, how you doing, man? Let me bring you up. You should be able to unmute yourself, Brock, if you'd like. There you go. How you doing?
Yay. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had all this technology. Yeah, you've been away and doing things with GP, and well, you haven't really been away, but
right. Just not on YouTube with folks live.
Yeah. Let's see here. Basically, the nutshell is so much has lined up so well in my life. And
nice.
And the only two real pieces that are missing is I go into such an intense rage. Most of the time by myself. I did have an incident in October where I misconnected twice getting from the Midwest back to Palm Springs. And both times I stood at the gate that I misconnected at and saw the plane sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
Twice. And then slept overnight in Dallas. And ended up having a meltdown that almost got me arrested.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, airports can do that.
Yeah. And I was an airline employee for over a decade, a gate agent. And actually and that's why, most people would think, well, then you should have known better. No, I knew too much. I knew they saw my name on a list and said, nope, not going to wait for that one. I lived that for a decade. Because of course airlines have to decide when they're going to shut the door and who to wait. Yeah, yada, yada, yada.
Interesting.
And I won't tell you the story. I'll spare you that. But just the extreme anger.
Yeah.
And it's the anger is connected to truth.
Okay.
But I take the truth and I embellish conversations surrounding it to get angry about.
Got it. Yeah.
And it's a little disparaging to know, way back when I came out, when I was 31 and had therapy, and then, meeting GP and then meeting you. And that was, goodness, how long ago was that?
That's a good question.
8-9 years ago. And I have, I'm shutting my handyman business down temporarily, possibly permanently. And I'm finishing up commitments with handyman clients, and I am going to finish the rough draft of my first novel in December.
Good. Awesome.
And I see how, I just see clearly how if I just focus one step at a time, it will all get finished. And I'm in contact with professionals who help me how to edit and will show me how to get it on Amazon and how to market and, to hire a publicist. And I just have this intense rage. And without guidance, it just makes me angry. And for the life of me, I can't really see where it's rooted from.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've learned how to, not judge it, not shut it down, let it be there.
Right.
Ask it questions, ask if it's ready for questions, and Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. And I like, how sort of self-aware you are with the whole thing. And just on that last point there, let's explore a little bit, because, that sounds like you're really adept at, let's call it the sort of more tender, maybe in pain parts of ourselves that respond very well to that. Like, well, let me know when you're ready to talk. And sometimes rage and these kind of, they're not as delicate, you might put it. It's almost this kind of torrent of energy that has a different quality to it that might not necessarily feel like it needs that, okay, I'm ready to talk to you. It's like, man, I can take you over whenever I want. I don't need your help, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different posture, perhaps, than the tools that you've sort of already mastered. And even just with that in mind, just see what happens if you kind of, let's call it, open up for a second to, okay, something in there. See if it feels more accurate to say, I'm curious if there's like this dormant anger in you, or if it's something that can kind of be conjured up and just kind of create itself in a moment.
I just got a very clear image of this intense anger. I saw the image of a gas pedal in a car, and the notion that I got from it was, you want a car that gets you where you want to go, but you don't want a gas pedal that makes you go too fast.
Okay.
And and could I be okay with a gas pedal that from time to time, oops, I went too fast.
Got it. Okay.
And and maybe I'm trying to put a governor.
Right.
Maybe I'm trying to put a governor on something that, in fact, I'm actually getting very clearly this extreme anger is the same component as my creativity.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you like this part of me, but you don't like the other part of me. And why can't you just love all of me?
Good. Very good. And as you're kind of feeling that and, opening up to that really good insight you're having, also see if you get a sense that even when it steps on the gas and really fires itself up, see if you have a sense that even in that moment, it's still trying to accomplish something that from one perspective, like it's still trying to accomplish something for you.
And why is it not? And why does it? Well, I already know the answer. Why isn't my anger letting me know why it thinks the anger is useful? Because if I knew that, that would help me. But if it's not willing to tell me, I already know it's because it doesn't feel safe enough to do so. And it doesn't feel safe to do so because of what I've done.
Okay.
Or haven't done.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So see if this resonates in any way, where you can, if you imagine the anger is sort of building up, right? But like you said, there isn't that kind of communication happening between the two of you.
Can I stop you for a second? The anger doesn't build up.
Okay.
It's just there. It feels like it goes from 0 to 10 without any notice whatsoever.
Right. Okay. Yep. And so, yes, exactly. And so would it be accurate to say it bypasses that process? Where it could, let's say, build up and say, hey man, this isn't right. Like, so it's not working with you. It's just kind of going around you from, okay, I'm dormant to full-blown eruption.
100 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. And just kind of feel into what would be happening in between there, and why, if it doesn't feel safe to actually have the conversation with you, just explore that space in between. Like, what would it be if it felt like it could work with you and say, hey, we're really pissed off here. Like, how can we channel this?
The thing I keep seeing in my head is, and I this past weekend, I was able to see some growth with all of this. It was Pride weekend in Palm Springs, which means there's like 100,000 people in town, of a town that's 45,000 people. And they brought in some pretty good acts this year. Jody Watley, Third Eye Blind, Flock of Seagulls, and they're all free concerts right in downtown. And I don't do well at concerts, especially when people bump into me.
Yeah.
And a couple of people bumped into me, and I was actually able to just talk myself through it. It's okay. People are having fun. They're not meaning to do this. And it was awesome because at one point a lady bumped me twice behind me, and then it was almost kind of my worst scenario. And then at one point she tapped me on the shoulder and she goes, I think I bumped you. I'm sorry.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I'm like, see, people are not meaning to do this, and that is, in the past, that's why I haven't really been able to enjoy concerts a lot. So,
good.
So yeah, I guess it's just having conversations with that part of me that and not expecting any outcome from it.
Yeah. And being forgiving of yourself, because in the understanding that there's way different levels of those types of moments. So the fact that you're seeing a little bit of a shift in an area where it's like someone bumps into you, that's progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that also means that, you know, a situation like that where you're at the airport and you can see the plane and they don't let you in, let's call that more advanced.
Right.
And so it's not necessarily the case that all of a sudden you'll be fine with that moment, but the smaller interactions. And so you can, as you were doing there, one thing you can do is just use those smaller moments that are annoying as an opportunity, because that's an open door where we could say the gas isn't at 100.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're at the supermarket and they're out of something, or someone cuts you in line, whatever, where you can feel that, like, man, this asshole, but it's not in full meltdown.
Right.
See that as like oh, cool, here's the anger and I'm not throwing things, right? So here's an opportunity to first acknowledge myself. Okay, yeah, because there are people that would have a total breakdown over someone, you know, bumping into them. So
Yeah.
it is progress, and seeing those as opportunities to actually have that conversation. But I think to start with the, hey, thanks for not having a meltdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
like appreciating that there is some level of governance happening,
Mm-hmm.
because those moments are your evidence that, okay, there is something between 0 and 100, because I didn't punch this person in the face because they bumped into me.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a chance to kind of work with that. And like you observed, a lot of times when you do that, you actually feel the energy of the whole situation change, and it makes someone go, oh, hey, sorry, right? Sometimes if you hold that tension, it like kind of creates this tension, and it stays there with that person, right?
I think I'm understanding also that I haven't judged myself for all of this like I did in the past.
Good.
But I'm still judging myself, even if it's in subtle ways.
Yeah, any sense of like, oh, that anger came up, like that's something you got to work on, Brock. Like, no,
Right.
You know, not
See,
that it came up.
Mm-hmm. See, that's a judgment right there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the fact that something inside of me that said, oh, sure, you like me when I'm creative, but you don't like me when I'm angry. And it's the same. Ooh. Mm-hmm. It's deciding, oh, it's conditional love. I mean, it's conditional. Perfect. It's conditional love. And no wonder this part of me is angry. It's still receiving conditional love from me. And
good.
Yeah.
So next time it happens, like at the concert, experiment going all the way, not only to let's say giving credit to yourself for not letting the anger take over, but even just experiment with, okay, anger came up here, and that's probably a wise, natural response, because someone bumps into you. It might be appropriate for your adrenals to get up and be ready, because you don't know that someone's not about to, you know, smack you in the face, or they don't like how you look, or, I mean, such things do happen, right? So to actually say, okay, anger came, no problem. Yeah. Like it's not like, oh, see, I had some anger come up, I got to work on that. Just be like, okay, cool, you showed up at this moment, you were ready to go, thanks for coming in. Mm-hmm. And then when we saw we didn't need to escalate, we didn't. So it's not even, it actually, not in a fake way, like pretending to like it, but actually exploring, hey, maybe it's good that it came up right here.
And And I would like to schedule something with you, because I know that when I was in grade school, I had a situation where I was shoved to the ground during some sporting. It was baseball, and I got excited, and I was standing between third and home while somebody was hitting a home run. And they, instead of trying to run around me, which of course they're about to make a home run, and they just mowed me down. And I'm pretty sure I made some very definitive. I created some very definitive ideas about life and what life is and what life isn't in that moment. So when somebody bumps me at a concert, I think it's taking me back to that moment where life changed for me. Your body,
so I would, ready to be knocked over. It's bracing itself on that level, and it's like this person's doing it on purpose, right?
It might be when I developed the "it's not fair" piece. I have a pretty big "it's not fair" piece. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Good work. Yeah. So just hit me up. We'll be in touch. And
all right. Good.
Excellent. Thank you.
And congratulations. Now you posted this publicly, so congratulations on being engaged.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. It's quite an enjoyable ride for sure.
Very cool.
So, great. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And David, let me bring you up. Thank you. Those of you in the chat.
Hey, Evan, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Evan. Forgot to mention you on the last call. Congrats to your engagement as well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Evan, since the last time we spoke, I know you suggested if you feel something intuitively, go with it. Whether it's
at least in that you're talking about the event, right?
Yes.
Concert. Okay, good.
Yes. But anyways, what I was curious about, Evan, is I'm in Florida right now, and intuitively, so what I've been doing is I've been heading south, trying to get more sunlight into the most warm part of the state. And I've had an opportunity, for example, like yesterday, 2 days ago, I stayed with a lady, and I was planning to leave because intuitively I wanted to get out of the cold weather because there was a cold front, and she handed me the keys, and I chose to stay instead. It's like something was shut inside of me as soon as she handed me the keys, and I can't really describe it. It's kind of like a hypnosis kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but today I got up and said, I'm heading south. Thank you. And but what I was curious about, Evan, a couple of things that I've noticed coming up is when I sort of explore some of these uncharted territories that I have not been to, there's a sense of guilt that arises. For example, if I'm going to the beach and I look for somewhere to park my car, I see a lot of $1 million houses around the beaches, and I feel like, hey, I'm on disability. I don't really deserve to be enjoying myself and focusing on improving my health and wellness. And it ties into like a little bit of approval seeking that I've noticed. So that's sort of an area that's been coming up. So I don't have any rental places. I'm just pretty much living out of my car. And when I deal with people, I've noticed a little bit more that I'm getting better with trying to be more of my authentic self and less, I guess you can say, people pleasing. But I know in the real chaotic world, there's a sort of balance within the dynamic. So yeah, essentially that's what I was curious about.
Okay, good. So close your eyes for a sec. Take a deep breath. And notice any part of you that believes the idea that because you're going through something, your body is going through something, right? That you somehow are of any less value. And just notice how that feels in your body when any part of you believes that. And notice what thoughts and images come up that represent that idea that I am less than anything about you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be fit, whatever that means. Any images of what you're supposed to be. And just let me know what's coming up in terms of what those images and thoughts and ideas are.
I see a lot of individuals who are very wealthy, and I hear voices saying, "You need to be stronger. You're not supposed to be this ill. You have to. We expect you to try harder, and just keep pushing and pushing, and until you become successful." And sort of notice that culture around me.
Oh yeah, it's an unfortunately romanticized thing. Keep pushing, keep hustling, right? So again, go back to just how your body feels right now. And whatever it's feeling says nothing about your value as a human being. Right? And if you had built 25 companies and were worth $1 billion, the cells in your body, your adrenal glands, all that stuff, they don't care about any of it. Right? What happened to Steve Jobs? Did the fact that he was really successful make his body invincible? No. Every human being has a body and is subject to what can happen to bodies. Right? Nothing in nature actually suggests or reinforces the idea that having something happening in your body has anything to do with your success levels, how much money you make, and that there are tons of examples of people who make a lot of money and have a lot of success that work themselves to the ground and often become very ill. So just allow yourself to feel that there's a lot of images and ideas that have been instilled in you that are equating, success, value, hard work, discipline, as somehow being related to, if you do this right, your body has tons of energy, or rich people don't get fatigued, or I should be pushing through this somehow. And notice, for who? For what? Allow yourself to notice that if you were to force yourself to push your body even further, when you know it needs rest and it needs sunlight, and you could imagine yourself holding up some certificate that says, I pushed through it, and, I made whatever, 50 grand this year, and nearly killed myself doing it. Just notice, who cares, right? Who is this person or people that are going to go, congratulations, man, you did it. Now you're valuable. They're just ideas of people in your mind. And if there was someone who thought that, that's just their opinion. You're the one who has to live inside this body. Allow yourself to have the authority to say, what I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing is what matters. Allow yourself to let go of any image you're holding of someone that says, oh, you're being weak. Notice that picture. It's in your mind right now. It's something in you saying, oh, you're weak if you do this. And just question that. If someone gets bitten by a tick, right, and gets Lyme's disease, are they a weak person? No, it just happens, right? How many people get in car accidents every day? Are they weak, defective people? You notice you would never say that about someone else. And so allowing yourself to see that if you have a condition right now, it's not a punishment, it's not a result of being weak. It's any idea that you should be fighting it or doing more. You want to take a look at where that's coming from and say, well, is that the truth? Is that the highest truth that I should be listening to and saying, yes, that's, the word of God. I am weak and I am doing something wrong. And instead, notice that what you called that gut feeling, that intuitive feeling that says, I need some rest. I need to go where it's warm. And the process now is noticing that feeling when someone else is involved. In this case of this woman giving you that key. It says, oh, okay, well, what she thinks or what someone else thinks is more correct, more valuable, more important than what comes up in my intuition, because that's just me. And so what happens if you say to yourself, okay, no, what comes up for me, saying I need this, as long as it's not something that hurts anybody, which it's not, I'm going to allow myself to make that more of the authority. My health is allowed to be more important than what I think she might think. Just see where your attention is pulled. Can it accept that? Or does it still feel drawn to being concerned with what she thinks or what others will think about you? If you were to listen to that.
I feel like I've gone so far in this journey to the point where I feel like I can accept it. Yes.
You can't accept your own authority.
Yes, I can accept it.
Good. And so what you want to do now is when those moments come up is to pause in those moments, notice the hypnosis, and notice what part of you is saying, well, we have to take this key. We don't want to show weakness. We don't want to offend someone, whatever it is. And say, give yourself that moment, because there isn't actually a rush. Say, okay, what I need is to get out of here.
Right.
And then pause and allow yourself to just feel into it for a moment. Okay, what's the right way to communicate this? And you'll notice your body will adjust to that. It'll say, thank you so much. You don't have to give all the details if you don't want to. You can say something's going on with my body right now. I really need to make sure I'm in a warmer climate. Or I really need to go wherever, and you don't really need to give an explanation.
Yes, and it ties in, Evan, with growing up in Ethiopian culture. When you're invited to someone's house for dinner and you don't even have at least a little bit to eat, then it's kind of an insult. So that's, I noticed that coming up.
Exactly. That's sort of the hypnotic element. So in those moments, you want to observe that and notice it, sort of take control of your body. And that's when to pause and take a deep breath. Because like we talked about last time, you're noticing it happening now. And so that moment of noticing it is the doorway saying, okay, this is happening. You don't have to act on it right now. You feel that tug of war inside and says, wait, who do I need to listen to here? I need to listen to my body right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, don't let anyone convince you that you're somehow less valuable or less, that your own body or what it's telling you is somehow it being weak, or you just got to push through that stuff. I mean, you've been through what you need to be through to get the confirmation that this is something you need to work with. It's like telling someone to run on a broken foot or something. It's like, yeah, it doesn't. You don't just power through that with some idealistic view of that's what a champion does. Right? It's not true. Just let yourself. That part of you is what will guide you through the journey in the way it needs to.
I appreciate that, Evan.
Awesome. Good work, man. Thank you so much. Okay. Great. So that's it for the hands today. Like I mentioned before, I am starting a monthly membership, which is just, I'll post on the screen what it is for those of you who are interested. And those of you, if you are a coaching person, which a couple of you are, then you don't need to worry about this. You will just get this. What that's going to be, if my button works here, is it's a kind of a monthly program, and it's going to be 2 live calls like this just for members, 60, 75 minutes, similar today. And then the courses that I've recorded over time, as well as some newer ones you might not have seen, that's also something you get when you're a member. There'll be 2 in there at the beginning. They get added. Every call we do for the members is added to the archive, and you'll have access permanently to all of those. That will build up over time. At least a video per month dedicated to Q&A for those of you that have questions about whether that's facilitating, processing, anything going on, and you want kind of a more in-depth answer where I can go into video about it. Doing a whole separate section of that so that the calls can just be the processing and then the Q&A can be separate, and it also helps you separate out as you're watching through stuff what you want to focus on. And then if you have EFT videos or processing videos you would like to have made for the YouTube channel, members can suggest those and I will make those. And going forward, soon as I start doing more like things on YouTube, it will be everyone can watch, but those of you who are members will be allowed to work one-on-one and kind of get more involved that way. So if that is something you are interested in, there is the space. This just goes right to the order page. There is a longer sort of sales page, but still working on that. But if this is something you might be interested, you can go to this site, innerwork.space/FM join. There's a coupon code live, $10 off the first month. If you are in the Inner Reconciliation Facilitator training, you have a different coupon to try out that first month too, so hold off on that. But yep, if that is something you are interested in, you can check it out there. It's just a lot more chances to do live work and interact one-on-one and go through different courses and material in much more affordable way than just focusing on one-on-one and private sessions and stuff. So way to keep it moving, keep interactive, keep getting support, keep having more sort of information coming your way that you can actually work and process through in terms of the courses. And the first one is about money. Second is about building a daily practice. You'll get those right away. So if you know me, I try to keep it practical and try to keep it stuff that really keeps you doing work that actually helps you, not get lost in too much philosophy or too much in the weeds. So I wanted to make that available. I'm looking forward to working with more folks there. And of course, I will be live again here doing the same type of call at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is about 6 hours from now. So feel free to join me there as well. And we can hang out more at 7 tonight. Probably see some different people there, work with some different people. And thank you again for your support over the time as I've been doing more and exploring more in this direction. And I hope to see you all very soon in one form or another. All right, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care.